Hey y'all, good morning. Just coming back from the gym again, so y'all know I'm looking a little, but anywho, so it's time to move on to the first chapter in the book. But first, it's something that I wanted to, it's just been placed in my heart to kind of touch on, like a disclaimer, a briefing, before we go into this chapter. The word triggering or trigger, I know that those of us that's on our healing journey, we say this word a lot, or we often hear this word, or this is the new thing about being triggered. But I think the contents of the word has been really taken out of context as far as what that really is supposed to mean, because when people are saying trigger now, it seems like they're using it as an excuse, like they're making the other person responsible for their actions or reactions, and that's not what it's about. A trigger is about you understanding the place that you are transcending from, or a emotional state that you're going into that is not of yourself, if you get what I'm saying. So just stay with me now. So a trigger is basically you acknowledging yourself to yourself, like, hey, this is something that puts me in a state that is not where I want to be. For example, if I hear something or someone says something to me that brings me back to a place of my childhood, and it makes me react in the way of a child instead of the adult that I am today, that's not that person's responsibility. That's not their fault that they triggered me, because I could be triggered by a door slam, and that person don't understand. They just slammed the door. They didn't grow up with the door slam mean it's the over for you or it's the end for you. So I can't make that person's fault. I can't make them responsible for slamming the door and now I'm triggered. But the trigger is supposed to be the first step in the healing process, which you're acknowledging what your triggers are, so therefore you can take accountability for your actions, because that's a big step in the healing. See, people don't talk about that word. They talk about the triggers, they talk about the soft girl and the arrow and the happy place and the trauma, and but they don't talk about the healing, the accountability, because that's the most important part. Because you can do all of this trigger and all of this trauma, and I grew up like this, or I felt like this, or I don't want to associate with this, or you can disassociate, but none of that doesn't mean anything if you don't take accountability. See, accountability makes you responsible. Accountability puts you in a place where you don't have no choice but to grow and change. And that's what healing is. It's growing and changing. So you can't put that in somebody else's hands, because you're supposed to be doing the work, right? So that's what I mean by the word trigger. The trigger is about you. It's about you acknowledging where you are hurt, where you are damaged, where you need to heal, so that way you know where to put the work in at. It's supposed to be a tool, not an excuse. Okay, and that's just the word for today. Y'all can't wait till we go into the first chapter of the book, and you'll really understand how I had to work on myself and heal and take responsibilities for my own triggers while raising my child. Through parenthood, through guidance, it'll really, hopefully it'll really, resonate and set in for you or later on. But it's my truth, and I just want to give y'all that little pro tip. Safe healing. Peace.